And welcome to another edition of Cruising with the Coaches, your favorite show on YouTube, your favorite, well, okay, YouTube. Yeah, we'll stick with that. Yeah.
With that one.
For
We'll
now,
leave with that
right?
one.
I'm one of your co-hosts, Lee. My other co-host, I always get that wrong. Over
Yeah,
there, that
that's all
side,
good.
that side. Julie, how's everything?
Going good. How about you?
Good, doing good. Before we get into this show's topic, couple interesting articles I was reading
Hmm.
about, and I'm not going to say what our signs are. I'm not giving that away,
Okay.
but there was two articles, and I sent them to you.
Yes.
The what was it? Three signs that need the most. Well, calls them
Well, signs,
sleepiest,
specifically
right?
horoscopes. So
It's
when we say
horoscope signs,
horoscopes, yeah.
yes. the
Like
it,
signs, but
well, also specifically the sun sign, right? Because we know
yes.
there's more to someone's birth. I've had my birth chart done, by the way, which is kind of cool.
Yes.
Um, but so each one of our signs was in these top three of they called it sleepiest, right? And I was like, really sleepiest? But it really was about the need to recharge, right?
Correct.
And it
Yes.
gave the reason about recharging, and it also was about ending up in a relationship. Now,
Okay.
I was like, that's kind of interesting. Like, why? Now, my sign was like the top of needing to recharge and ending in being in a relationship. I was like, interesting. Okay.
Which is
So,
funny because my Fitbit, I don't know, it's most recently like the cardio load. I don't know if you noticed, like it's
it's a
a new
new
feature.
metric.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, the cardio load. Like, I'm like, what the hell
Hmm.
is this bull crap? So, like, it'll tell you you can only do like 1 to 4, like whatever, based on whatever you did the day previous or whatever, blah, 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 blah.
Sure, sure.
Why is
Mm.
my stuff constantly saying you need to be at a 1 to 4 today? You because of what you did yesterday. You need to be at a 1 to 4 today. Okay, you need to be at a one, a one, a one. And I'm like, I'm looking at it right now, like I'm at a 17. It was supposed to be a one. And I'm like,
Hmm.
I don't know how to. So I don't know about the rest part. I'm supposed to rest, but I don't apparently know how.
It's telling you sit
It's sit
Joan
down,
down.
right? I'm still like, okay, if I'm supposed to rest, I'm not. Yeah, I looked at the article. And I'm like, apparently, I am not the one.
got the sign wrong, you know?
Yeah.
Get the mm. No, that was pretty good. Like you talking about the Fitbit reminded me of my Garmin watch will tell me how many hours I need to rest after,
To recharge.
steps
Uh-huh.
of and I'm like, really? 12? Like after walking 3 miles, I need to rest 12 hours? Is that what we're
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
What
You're like, huh?
it I guess it has to be with going into a new decade. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
No, we ain't going there.
Yeah. Because there's apparently 72 hours in a day.
Right? Like, where's the extra 12 that I'm gonna get to
Exactly.
rest to walk another 3 miles? Right? What is that about?
Exactly.
Craziness, y'all, craziness. But speaking of our signs and our generation, I think our kids would like to think that we're boomers, right? But we're not.
Oh, they call me
um
that all the time. It's so annoying. You
like
baby boomer, mom.
it's like, no, not a boomer, but we are the forgotten generation, pretty much. So today's topic is these, and this it's actually interesting, right, going through it, but it's values that Gen Z think are important, and the rest of the article was about, and no one else thinks they're important. But I would beg to differ and say that's not entirely true because there are some good things in here that I think we all can kind of agree on and learn from. So, what do you say we jump into it?
Sure.
All right. So, the first one, or this is from yourtangle.com. Excuse me. Um, and as I said, that we're the forgotten generation, but is talking about the traditional rigid thinkers of older generations, right? How they built their identities, personal values. Well, Gen Z is leading this charge in rejecting old norms and um, they say it's met with hostility. So I don't think so. But hey, um, also Gen Z's been called lazy or that they've been coddled, right? But Gen Zers are still leading with their values. Like that's what they want to do, and their values are fueled by this a study actually done at Stanford. They're fueled by flexibility, diversity, and inclusion, and the pragmatism with which they address it. They think about it, right? So, this talking about the workplace and from activism to their social lives to their personal lives, Gen Z is committed to making change, even if it makes other people angry or upset. Um, any thoughts before we any thoughts before we jump into the first value? Any thoughts on Gen Z in general?
No, I mean, I think it's true. I mean, everything that so far, it's like
Mhm.
they're, I guess, not as flexible, I guess is the best way that I would say. I
Mhm.
I it's it's weird. They're not that they're not flexible, but they're not as tolerant. You know what
I
I like,
I
you
I
know what
I
I
would
mean?
concur. Yeah, I
But
would
in a
agree with
good
that.
way,
Yeah, yeah,
but in a
yeah.
good way,
The
you know?
flexibility they have is about different things.
Exactly. Like, there's different things that they're willing to bend on, and there's certain things
Hmm.
that it's
They're not
non-negotiable.
going to. Yep.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily a bad thing.
And that's why we're diving into this because
Yeah,
I think they get a bad rap sometimes.
sure.
So that's we'll jump in.
Yeah.
And as we're talking about it, right? The first value that Gen Z likes or is committed to is the work life balance. So, despite facing economic instability and struggles around job stability, work life balance constantly ranks higher than money focused mindsets for young people. They are committed to uplifting their boundaries with work and investing in their personal lives, growth, and time. I think that's something that we all can get behind. You know what I mean? A good work life balance. I'm gonna come out on camera here. A good work life balance that some people think that doesn't exist, right? Like you should be committed to your job and that's it, and that's your identity.
Right.
I think we're more than what we do. You know?
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that or?
No, I mean, like, I don't think that's necessarily a generation, it's not just Z. I think that's just something that should be adopted by all workplaces, only because I don't think you need to be strapped to a desk for 8 hours in order to get your job done. I think if anything, that is what the pandemic has taught us is we have the ability to get our job done and also take care of our families. And I think
100%.
that's something that we need to take into account. Like, hey, just because yada yada can, I think, granted, unfortunately, there are certain jobs that you
That,
cannot do that. It's just you
right,
can't.
right,
Like, that's just the reality of it. But
right.
for those people who can do that or break their day up in a way where they can get little Johnny off to school and do their thing and blah 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 blah,
Hmm.
go to work, maybe only spend 5 hours at the office, and then wrap up those last 3 hours after they've put Johnny to bed. You know what I mean? Like, just, but
Totally.
knowing that you can count
Yeah.
on whoever to do that, to do what they need to get done. There are some people who will claim they're putting Johnny to bed and blah 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 blah, and then they aren't going back to work. You know what I mean? So,
Right, right. Well, I was going to shout out. I literally was just reading an article about Patagonia, right? The clothing company,
mhm.
and they have 100% retention of their working moms, and it's because Patagonia. I mean, Patagonia has done this, adopted this lifestyle, this work life balance for their employees for I don't know 10, 15 years now. Um, but the article was about a new mom had come into the office and literally was nursing her baby in the meeting, right? And no one batted an eye.
Yeah.
And the VP was like, "Man, um, I bet there's no way to calculate the return on investment on that, but I bet it's a big deal, right?"
Oh, facts. Yeah.
Meaning, and so like that's what we're talking about. Work if you have companies that value their people, as people, right?
Right.
Not separating, you have to choose one or the other. I think that's what helps the work life balance. And Gen Z just might have a point there, you know?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, see, Gen Z, we're giving y'all credit. Yeah. All right, number two. Yeah, I don't know about this one, but curating their social media pages, right? So the social media age, including platforms like TikTok, um, Gen Z has their discussion boards, and so many other folks, such as boomers, just don't like that, how they're on social media all the time. So it's not surprising that their commitment to creating their social media presence um, kind of doesn't sit well with older generations. Um, Anything you'd like to add to this before we move to the third one? Um,
Yeah, I really don't have much to say about the media thing.
Y'all, she's not on TikTok, so don't worry, she won't see
Yeah,
it. Like,
no, sorry.
no, all good, all good. Um, this one is a big one, I think. Excuse me, and I think this is something that Gen Z also is getting it right. Overcoming the mental health stigma. And you kind of mentioned it. We kind of learned this during the pandemic, right?
Mhm.
So the accessibility and awareness of mental health for Gen Z, um, as a result of the decreased stigma about it, they feel more comfortable in talking about it and bonding over it, seeking help. And that is that's a direct quote from Anne Louise T. Lockhart, a psychologist. Um, Older generations have been forced to keep their head down, right? The head down approach, ignoring personal struggles or mental health concerns. So many older generations still feel uncomfortable about talking about their feelings or even seeking help for different mental health issues, discussions, and they struggle about it and they still have these misguided stereotypes about it. I want to come back out on camera here because I think that's a big one, right?
Yeah, yeah,
If we didn't learn anything from 2020 to 2022, right, is yeah, there's a fine line, but then there's also there's an umbrella, right, of
right,
mental health.
right.
There's some things that you can help yourself with or help each other with. There's some things that you need to get professional help for. So I think that's something that we can kind of look at Gen Z and say, well done, well done.
Correct,
Golf
correct.
clap.
Yeah, because I mean, like, I will tell you, I've been caught off guard. Hey, how are you doing? What's going on? I'm not doing well. I'm not doing well at all. And I'm like,
Right, right.
well, damn, let me sit down. Are you like, let's talk about it. Like,
Like
wow,
I was expecting I'm okay, right? Or
I'm
I'm good.
okay.
And
Everything's good.
yeah,
Or, like, or hey,
yeah,
what's up? I'm not doing good at all. Like, and I'm like, oh, wow. Like, wow. I'm
yeah.
glad I know how to respond to that because, like, I
Right,
could see,
right.
like, in my generation, I know if I would have said something like that, my dad would probably like to me, well, suck it up, like, okay, thanks, dad,
Like you're supposed to say okay.
exactly.
you're not supposed
Like,
to tell me the truth.
yeah, yeah. Like when I say, "Are you okay?" You just say, "Yeah," and then
Right.
just walk away, and it's just like, oh, okay, But at the same time, like you're like the thin line. I'm
Yeah.
also not your therapist. Like I can't be the person you're coming to all the time, every time, like
Or
it's
if you need the
ongoing.
professional help, right? Like
Exactly.
yes, we can kind of brainstorm and talk about
Correct.
some ideas, right? Or
Yeah.
okay, let me give you some tips. Here's what works for me. I don't know if that'll work for you, that kind of thing.
Right.
But there are some issues that do need professional help. And just for the record, professional help does not mean you're crazy,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
I've gotten
Or
therapy.
just
I've
sharing that you yourself have gone through
hmm
therapy and letting them know that it's okay is usually
absolutely.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah. One cool thing I want to add to this is that I've actually had that the other way around. So, I work with some Gen Zers and train them, that kind of thing. And the random, hey man, how are you? Right? How's everything going? It's like, you talking to me?
Right. Or
You're
just
asking me?
asking. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And the real concern, like, okay, cool. That's good to hear, right? And I'll when they ask it, I'll give them an honest answer, right? Like, oh yeah, this is working. I'm tired of doing. They're like, oh man. So it's a genuine question, you know.
Right. Right.
Um, and it's okay to tell people the truth, or if you don't want to talk about it, just say, I'm good,
Yeah.
and keep moving. Oh man. Number four is they are committed to fighting against climate change. So, according to a study from Pew Research Center, Gen Zers are at the forefront of climate change activism. So, not only are they speaking more about the climate crisis and the sustainability in their personal lives, but they're also posting more about it. They're attending activist events. They're even campaigning on these issues more than older generations. Um, that's kind of fair because they're the ones who have to deal with it. Excuse me.
Right.
Like it's something that's going to fall in their lap. So
Yes.
I
Yes.
get why they would. I get why they would be speaking about it. It affects all of us. But there's some older generations who kind of don't care. They
Right. Like,
made their money on fossil fuels.
well,
Sorry, sorry.
with living here in Ohio, we had the whole the Northern Lights and being able to see it down here and let it what have you, and
Hmm.
everyone's all excited and oh, we can see the north. Oh wow, this is so cool. And other people were like, like I myself was like, I don't think this is a good thing, people. Like this what
We we shouldn't be seeing them this far south.
yeah. And I was like, this doesn't seem. But I was like, all
Yeah,
right, like okay. Should I
yeah.
go to the lake and look at it? Then I was like, but I was like, I don't know. But then there was like other people were like, like the younger generation, this is
Mhm.
not this is this and this and this and I'm like, see, I knew that wasn't good.
You
But it was
tapped into your Gen Z bones.
yeah,
Nice,
and I was
nice.
just like, oh man, because I was like, this don't
Yeah.
sound right. Like this can't be good. And
Right, but you think of it like, yeah, that's a cool thing, but then you're like, oh, that means there's some disturbances in the ozone and
exactly, like this can't be
mhm.
good. And then like, oh, they can see it more. Oh, it'll continue through this time, and oh, it's extended, and it, this extension isn't good. I was like,
You're
it's
like,
not getting better.
I'm glad I don't have to deal with this. No,
I'm like, oh my goodness, it's crazy.
so you said being in Ohio and I'm from there, obviously. Well, not obviously, people if people don't know that, but let's go back to when we were growing up, right? Do you
Yeah,
remember when the lake was too polluted to
to swim in it,
actually be in it,
to be
right?
in it. Yeah, you couldn't even go like ankle deep.
Nope. And people are
Yeah,
like, really? I'm like, yeah. I remember
that's how
growing up that we could
disgusting.
not be in the lake.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So, I mean, I can see where climate change and fighting the environment, like that's a well worth it thing. But
Yes,
it's just weird to think about that, right? Like
right,
we grew up not being able to be in the fresh water. Like, what are we talking
right.
about? You know?
Exactly.
Mm, mm,
Crazy.
yep. Oh man. So number five, it hold on, nope, nope, nope. Sorry. Let's take a break. let's before we
For
get
real,
to
that can of worms.
let's take a break there because that might be a little bit longer discussion, right?
Okay.
So let's take a break, and then we'll come back and go over the rest of the values that Gen Z is committed to that other generations may not be so pressed about. So stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back, folks, from the break. This is your latest episode of Cruising with the Coaches, a conversation with Julie and Lee. And I forgot in the beginning to apologize to our viewers because we didn't have an episode for March. Um, Scheduling and celebration of certain things, but hey, it's we're coming to you in April. It's all good. I forgot to apologize to the viewers, so just wanted to put that out there before we continue with talking about the values that Gen Z is committed to, and some other generations don't really care about it. So here we go. I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Oh, great.
No, no.
Yay.
So this is a I want to call it a new trend, but not really new. So going no contact with toxic family members. According to a study from American Psychology Association, many young adults are struggling to gain clarity and support from their parents amid the conversations of feeling unheard, misunderstood by older generations, and the older generations are already struggling with their own mental health concerns, and they're not letting Gen Z voice these opinions and their emotions in a supportive manner. Of course, this is one of the values that Gen Z holds dear and thinks it important. Um, Older generations, they don't really. We weren't raised that way, right? To protect your peace or setting boundaries, although it's something that is healthy for everybody. So, um,
So,
anything you'd like to add first?
although I was not raised that way, that is something I hold close, near, and dear to my heart. So I respect it. I first of all, I hear it, I understand it, and I respect it. So I am never going to like even I will just put it out there because I'm at this point it is what it is. Um Even with my husband, my kids each had a different relationship with him, and I
Hmm.
respected that. So
Hmm.
while my son talked to him, my daughters did not. And
Hmm.
so, my son and I and him could go bowling together
Hmm.
and be fine, and it is what it is, and blah 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 blah, where
Hmm.
with the girls he couldn't so much as come to my house because they didn't even want to be
Right.
around, and
Right.
there was a lot of growing that needed to happen in that relationship,
Sure.
mostly yeah, on his part, but it was just kind of like I respected that, and it was
Right.
they took their stand, and it was what it was, and it wasn't my place to say, first of all, titles mean nothing. You have to earn that title. So if you are who you are, then you need to
Be
represent
that.
that.
Be
You
that
need to
person.
be that.
Be
Exactly.
that person. Yeah.
But with that being said, I am I try to be the best mother that I can be, but at the same time, I go through turmoil with each one of my children.
Of
So
course. Of course.
whether it is they need space or I need space, again, I respect it. So
Hmm.
whether I understand why they might be in a no contact situation with me, I don't always understand it, but at the same time, I don't try to make it something that it's not. I don't make it
Yeah.
about me. I make it
Well,
I say they'll
hmm.
figure it out,
Hmm.
and I'll be here for that, or I will, you know, try to say I'm still here without saying what the hell
Sure.
is wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I try to be because I mean,
Hmm.
when you focus on something, you can't
Hmm.
focus on everything else.
Anything.
Anything
You're
else.
you're
You're
zoned in.
you're zoned in. And I
Yeah.
respect
Yeah.
that. I know that of myself. So
Yeah.
if I'm focused and I'm honing in on whatever that prize might be, I know that there are certain people in my life that they're going to come in and ask me questions. I don't like being asked questions. So I like to keep those people at bay because I don't know the answer right now. So don't ask me questions.
or I'm not going to answer that. So I,
Do you see what I'm saying? So, but
yeah,
just like when you're at your worst, you have those that one, not one, but you might have a handful of people who can
sure.
easily say, how are you doing? Are you, or just simply, are you okay? And then all of a sudden, the
And it
floodgates.
and it it, it breaks because, but it's the trust part.
Yes,
But you
yeah,
also said something about respect too, right?
yeah,
I you also in I think with our kids, we've created the foundation that, okay, the foundation is already there. It's laid. So if there's a non-contact or no contact situation going on,
yeah,
they're going to come back to the foundation
right,
eventually, right? That's but with other family members, the foundation may not be that great to begin with. And
correct,
so
correct.
I'm like you. I wasn't necessarily, well, I don't know. I don't know if I was necessarily raised that way where, yeah, I was. It was, I'm trying to be like, wait, was I? Because I'm all about, you have to have boundaries to protect your peace, right? Like,
Correct, correct.
because if you don't, it's that saying, right? You can't give from an empty cup. And so if your piece is constantly pulled at and tugged at or poked holes in, that means you have no peace. And if you don't have peace, you can't give. You can't be like
Correct.
who you are. Well, I can't be who I am. Let me make I statements, right?
Right,
but
right.
but but that's the thing. And so it's really become important to protect that and know who has access to it or limited access to it, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
I'm with you, Gen Z. I'm
yes.
there. I'm with you. Like,
Let me correct
but
that. I said my husband. I meant their father. I just realized I said my husband. I didn't mean my husband. I meant their father. Their father. Let's be clear. Their father.
oh, no. Shall I be an edit point? Well, bleep that out in
To be
post.
clear,
Gotcha.
their
Gotcha.
father, not my husband, but their father.
Oh, I'll take care of that. I'll take
I
care
just
of
want
that.
to clear. I just want to clear that up.
All good, all good.
Oh,
So
good.
see, folks, we're real people, real people. Oh man. Number six. This is for Gen Z having a job that aligns with their beliefs, right? So while Gen Z doesn't leave their values at the door when they go to work, they actively are trying to prioritize that and find a job that kind of mirrors their beliefs. Diversity, inclusion, sustainability, shared commitment to the work life balance. I went ahead, sorry.
That's okay.
But I think that's a good thing, right? Um, I think so many people and from older generations, ours and before, their identity was their work, right?
Correct.
And so if that changed, that's hard to change your identity, right? Like, who am I now if I'm not doing this, right?
Right.
My
Right.
dad struggled with that. He After he retired from air traffic controller, like we were like, well, have some hobbies. What do you want to do? Didn't have anything, right? It's like, well, go fish. Like, you're retired, you can go fishing as many times as you want now, right? Didn't do that. But his identity was not the air traffic controller. His identity was working.
Mhm.
And so it was like, I get that. Like, that's the hard part for older generations, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, nah, I ain't built that way. I'm good.
No. Yeah.
This is part of what I do. Um,
Not who
but I
I am.
get that, yeah. And like, there are jobs that want you to commit. Oh, I'm committed while I'm here, or
Right.
I'm committed while you're paying me. But on my time, outside of what I do for you, I'm not committed to that if I don't
Yeah.
want to be, you know? So I'm with that 100%. 100%. Um, this is another good one too. Calling out ignorant behavior. or as we want to say, canceling folks. But according to Gen Z, according to a Gen Z CSR study, over 90% of Gen Zers believe that corporations and companies have a responsibility to take action against critical societal issues, even if that means it doesn't align with their daily business operations. If they don't believe in a chain restaurant's vision, a company's investments, or their workers' rights, or the workers' rights their employers uphold, they will say something about it, including posting on social media or advocating in a host of other ways. I'm kind of okay with that. I think, you know, I the way I look at it now is I actually divest my money. As
Oh,
far as like
facts.
investing is a good thing, but divesting has just as much power, right? And the one thing that I've learned is that's what speaks. The color of money and the power
Right.
of money. So investing, divesting, where you want to route that dollar, that's what speaks. More than
For
anything.
sure.
That's what
Yeah.
speaks. So again, golf clap for Gen Z. Good job. All right. We'll just skip. No, we won't skip over this one. But one of their values that's important to them is being child free. So this is a study from the Institute for Family Studies. Gen Zers largely have dismissed traditional expectations around marriage and family, instead, kind of reimagining the American dream and one that exists outside of parenthood. They become dinks, double income, no kid couples. Let me come back out on camera here. I don't think we can really speak to that because I'm not a dink. You're not a dink. So,
Well, while I'm not, I will say
mhm,
that I have had the conversations with my own kids. Like my kids have
sure.
said to me, like, Mom, would it be that upsetting to you if you weren't a grandmother? And I'm like, "Uh,
You're like, hold on, too soon. No,
what? Like I
right,
didn't really
right.
know where the conversation was going. I was just kind of like,
Sure.
huh? And
Yeah.
then I realized, no. And then, it's just, she was just more or less like, I, and it actually, I just had this conversation this afternoon
Hmm.
with someone else. And she was just honest. And she said, Mom, she's like, I think I'm too selfish to have kids. She's like, I really do. No, she was like,
But
I
that's a
really do
good.
see the sacrifices that
Hmm.
go with having kids. And she's like, I see the way like you're able to travel now and you go and you do this and you do that whenever you want to,
Hmm.
now that we're adults, but like you didn't do that before and blah, blah, blah. And
Sure.
I'm just like, okay. And she's just like, yeah, like I want to do that, and I'm like, but like I'll watch shows and I'm thinking,
Hmm.
like this
Hmm.
whole egg freezing thing and stuff like that these girls do and everything now. But I'm like, man, if that was an option before, like, heck yeah. Like, wow.
Like,
Like
go.
that's
I'm gonna go do my thing, and then
yes.
kind of come back,
Yeah,
and
come back, put that on defrost. Okay. Like, yes. But like we always had this sense of urgency,
right.
like you must
There
do
was a
this, you must
sequence
do
of
that, you
things.
must do this,
Hmm. Hmm.
and to have that not necessarily have to be in this particular sequence, like
Right.
that's
You
good
you mean I can
stuff.
kind of make my own decision about when and
Yeah. I mean,
well, for the
I wouldn't
record, I
change what I have. Like that's
right,
like
right, right.
let
No,
me
I get
say
that.
that.
I
Yeah.
get that. I get
But
that.
yeah, it's just kind of like, okay, like
Well, for the record, I never thought about freezing my eggs. So I'm just I'm just going on record with that, right? Because I'm not
yeah.
sure if I could defrost them now.
Yeah, but these
That's a
girls, I
different
mean, these
conversation.
ladies,
Yeah.
they do have a lot more options than we ever did. So,
And I
I
think
mean,
like you, but that's great
for now.
awareness. So that's
Yeah, I'm just saying.
for now, for sure.
For now.
Uh, but having the awareness, like
Right.
and we've had other shows about this, right? Selfish is not a bad thing. Being
No, no.
self-centered, right? The
And
world doesn't revolve
self-aware.
around you, right?
Yeah.
But self-aware that, man, that takes a lot of sacrifice. It takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of
Yes.
time, and
Yes.
I don't want to do that. And hey, everyone's open to change their mind, but knowing you don't want to do that right now, man, go do whatever else you want to do.
Right.
That's that's a good thing for sure.
Yep. Yep.
For sure. Sorry, I was thinking about freezing my eggs. Sorry.
Silly.
um, this one I've had multiple conversations on. Adopting labels. So Gen Z is the largest, largely the most diverse generation, according to Pew Research Center. So it's not surprising that they're committed to adopting labels and finding a niche, or finding niche communities where they feel they belong and supported with people with similar identities and experiences. Um, Sorry, didn't mean to. I went jumped ahead, but I've had this conversation about labels, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm in that boat that's not that big a deal to me. And I've even had the conversation where, so you really just want to relabel because someone else has labeled it, so you just want to have a different label.
Hmm.
And, well, no, no, I'm like, that's kind of what it is. You just want your own label, but you're still labeling.
Correct. Just
So,
re compartmentalizing.
so how about just go with no label until you figure out what label you want?
Exactly.
How about
Exactly.
that? So yeah, had that conversation plenty of times. Yeah. All right. Enough about labels. Moving on to the next topic of Gen Z. So they value rejecting climbing the corporate ladder. According to a Deloitte report, nearly 80% of Gen Z corporate workers are battling burnout, and that's negatively affecting their emotional and physical well being, encouraging them to reduce their working hours and also shift their workplace obligations. Um, I think that's okay. Like, you can reject the corporate ladder, um, if it's about your health and well-being, right? Like, if that's
Right.
not the thing for you, if that's stressing you out, basically, don't do it,
Correct.
right?
Correct. Right.
I mean, it's kind of something we said in one of their values before: work-life balance, or you know, preserving your peace, right? All of that. I mean,
Correct.
it's kind of a good thing, you know.
Yes. Yes.
What do you think about the corporate ladder?
Well, I mean, I don't know though, because I think for me, there's sometimes a discrepancy though with that generation,
Hmm.
because I do also think there's an expectation of the climbing of the ladder without
Mm.
the
Mm.
actual input of what boomers like what the original expectation was. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
so, you know, where you might be able to have that conversation previously, like in an interview,
Hmm.
will will reevaluate these things in 90 days or what have you.
Sure,
And
sure.
sometimes what what's heard is 90 days, but not heard as far as these goals have to be met.
In
And
90s.
then we'll talk about what, it
Where the
just
next steps are. Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Yeah.
All that is received is 90 days and not so
Hmm.
much goals needing to be
Met.
met,
Setting.
which then require the hours that then require, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
sometimes I think that might be the discrepancy as far as there's still the expectation of climbing the corporate ladder for titles, raises, and what have you, but
There are
not
certain
necessarily.
things you
Yes.
have to do it
Yes.
in a given company. Okay, I had a great example for this, but I don't know if it's not really a Gen Zer, but it still fits the example, right?
Okay. Okay.
Um, I'll just say that there is an employee at one of the places I'm employed, because I'm employed at several places,
Okay.
and
Which is good
based
because you can't remember.
right, yeah, like take a guess, take a
Which
guess,
one is he talking about? Okay.
and and simply based on, well, no, they'll be able to figure it out from this, but based on longevity, the employee feels, I'm trying to stay away from the E word, right? Entitled, but feels that there should be more compensation based on longevity.
Correct.
And so that kind of ties into this expectation. Well, we don't need to climb the corporate ladder, but we're still going to get some of the benefits. Or the way I looked at this value is, I'm not going to climb the corporate ladder at all. I'm going to do something else, right?
Hmm.
And you should, if that's gonna fit your personality, right? If
Right.
that works better for your life.
Right.
But if you're in the corporate side, there are certain things that have to be done. Certain
Correct.
levels of competency
Correct.
that
Correct.
need to be met in order to
Correct.
achieve a title,
Yes.
achieve certain level of financial security, if we will.
Yes.
Right?
There's a legacy behind why things are done the way they are. So,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that's not always respected. So,
Or agreed upon. But
yeah.
yeah, there we go. There we go. All right, going to number 11. And we just talked about the corporate ladder.
Yes. There you go.
Gen Zers like to prioritize comfort at work. So traditional business standards of business. Um, I just read that all wrong because I'm cracking up. While traditional standards of business, uh, casual, that baby boomers and Gen Xers, we adopted this success of corporate America, right?
Hmm.
That it's going to be uncomfortable. It's misguidedly gendered and stale. And Gen Z's priority is comfort, color, and expression. Um, yeah. I think, sorry, it just cracks me up because I just saw a post the other day, or like it was a meme, and it's not quite related to this, but it's correct how mainstream companies are trying to rebrand certain things, right? Like you people used to wear sweatsuits, right? And you're just lounging around, but that was unprofessional. Or don't wear that out the house. Now it's loungewear or it's
Correct.
athleisure, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I still believe there are certain settings where there's a certain expectation, certain standard, business casual, right?
Hmm.
And because if casual is different for everybody, right?
Correct. Correct.
But business casual is like, okay, cool, I can wear a polo, even some nice jeans, right? But not holy jeans, but you prefer some pant, right? Some type of khaki or whatever. There's a certain type of expectation or other comforts, right? Coffee lover. It doesn't mean you get to have a coffee maker on your desk, right?
Okay. Okay.
That's a comfort that you don't necessarily get. A few steps down the hall, coffee maker, right? I mean, for everybody to use. So, yes, prioritizing comfort at work is cool, but I don't know. This is not for everybody. Like there's a certain expectation. Um, your take on that, if you have one.
I I don't know. I guess I've never really been confronted with that piece of
Mm,
it. I've never
mm.
really, yeah. At least I don't think I have.
Knowing needing to be
Of
comfortable
comf
at
like,
work.
y
Yeah.
well, not that they whether they have or they haven't, because I
Hmm.
have. I don't know, I guess
Hmm.
I've been flexible with that in my own right. So I need noise, and I always tell people that, like, I need noise, I need music, I can't sit and
Sure.
silence or what have you. So like
Well, and
if
I
you
think
come
that's cool if there
yeah,
are, like, if it's acceptable. th- Different office cultures are all,
correct.
they're
Like
different, right?
right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah, all
right.
for
So like
that.
I've always been for like whatever you need to make your situation to where you're comfortable. Yeah, so I guess I've
Mhm.
never really I don't know.
Well,
I would want work to be just as comfortable as
but
it can be.
it's almost like, yet, like in the summertime, right? Okay, it gets hot, so wear appropriate yet comfortable clothing, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
and I guess that's where I'm getting, because you can't necessarily wear what you're gonna wear to the club to the job.
Sure, sure, sure.
But you might be comfortable in it. So
Right, right.
that's what I'm getting at. That you can't have that kind of comfort level.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's different for everybody. Because, like, if for me, like,
Yeah.
I've had a situation where, you know, younger people and then older people, where, again, it's the AC situation where the one person, you know,
Hmm.
a little bit more heated. Therefore, the AC is on 50 degrees, where they're younger and they're like, it's a freezer and what have you. And I'm like,
And why you
if
got me
you
walking around with,
in a
yeah.
coat, and I'm sitting there looking at them like, if you are cold, you need to verbalize that you are cold and that you are uncomfortable, and you need to tell that person because
Right. Right.
that is not fair.
Because
But
there
because
needs to be some adjusting. Yeah, yeah.
exactly,
I'm with you
exactly.
there.
So
I'm with
like,
you
yeah,
there.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm all about being. I mean, it's where you spend most of your day. So I don't. I guess I'm like, if you need the coffee machine on your desk, then you have the coffee machine on your desk. Like,
I'm just speaking of jealousy because I don't have a desk, so
oh, okay. See, and then my office has a window,
yeah.
so no matter what the temperature is, it's kind of like evened out for me. So
Because you still
like
get sunlight and it kind of heats the
exactly, I
room
still have
and
warmth, and so like
hmm
in the it's more of a concern in the winter time because it's not
the
as
the
warm. So
cold comes in, right? I
yes.
get you.
So then I
I
have like
get
a
you.
little heater under my desk. See, I'm bougie, I guess.
I think we have a Gen Zer on the show.
I'm a little bougie, but yeah, so I'm all for whatever you need. Like you're here all day, so I get it. So
So
yeah,
so so did your office have PJ Fridays?
PJ Fridays.
Like,
No.
but that's if someone's comfortable to be in their PJs at work. I'm just saying that's a comfort
Yeah, no.
level.
Yeah, no. We didn't do
That,
we didn't take it ever.
right, right. But I think some Gen Zers want to feel
Although that would
comfortable
have been
like
fun.
that.
PJ Pant Friday. I like that. That would have been fun.
Ooh, PJ and Pizza Friday. I'm down for that.
See, that would be fun. Yeah.
Mm, well, no, no,
Talk to the powers that be. Yeah, why
because
not?
not everybody wears the same type of PJs to sleep. So,
As
it,
long as they're approved, not the kind that have that little slit in the front not those. You can't do those.
or do some
But
people go au natural?
well,
So we
they would
can't.
know better. Yeah. No, it has to be
Would
approved.
would they
With
know better?
approved. Yeah, no. With approval.
Well, there's some folks I work with who would try to get that passed. So
Dear Lord.
oh
Oh.
man. Well, folks, it's been another episode of Cruising with the Coaches. We went through 11 different.
I thought
Um,
did we go 11?
I think we went to 11. Let me make sure.
Was it?
Uh, yeah, yeah, that's
Oh,
11.
okay.
That
That
was
went
it.
fast.
That was
Okay.
it. Well, I'm sure there's more values that Gen Z have that we could go through. But these are ones that the older generations seem like to be
To have
mad
issue
about.
with.
Yeah, but no, but like you and I are in agreement with most of them. Most of those are pretty good. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's worth it. Like your mental health, work life balance, following, prioritizing peace. Like, we're with that, prioritizing your peace. So, Gen Z, they get the golf clap. Like, it's not too bad.
It's
We're
not
not
horrible. And
hating.
And
Mm-mm.
I think we're also the generation where we're close enough to it where it could still be embraced.
Yeah.
Where,
Yeah.
with the true boomers, no disrespect, it's kind of like a slap in the face to all the things that they were
Had to
raised to do
and
and
had to
what
go
is
through. Sure.
tradition. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
get it. I definitely get it.
It causes some friction, but we're here to bridge the gap, y'all. We're here
Yeah.
to bridge the
Yeah.
gap between boomers and Gen Z. So,
Exactly. Because you talk to my mom, work from home. What? It's like,
what is that?
what is that? How is that appropriate? It's like,
It's
yeah, it's
because
you
it's
can do
because it's
that
paying
now.
the because it's paying the bills.
Yeah, you
If
can
it
do
pays the
that.
bills, I'm working from home.
Exactly. So,
Cool, cool. Well, y'all, you can find us right down there on Spotify. Look, search the Live All Good podcast and search for the Cruising with the Coaches episodes. And don't forget, go to our YouTube page. It's right down there, right? Right down there. Go to YouTube, subscribe, like it. You get all the new content. And, till next time, Lee and Julie signing off.